The past 2 years have been really unexpected, and especially for the educational sector and for students, if you are an A-level student or a GCSE student or even a university student, your education has been severely disrupted. And because of that, in today's video, I want to talk about how you can, what you can do in the summer holiday over the next sort of 2 months off that you have to sort of try to catch up a little bit independently, and sort of some of the things that you can do to help you get some work experience, because there's obviously not the same opportunities that there are before, like what kind of experience you can get, what universities expect for your personal statement if you are someone who hasn't been able to get work experience, and how you can try to maybe catch up on some of the content that was lost as well. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel to see more from me every Wednesday and Sunday. I produce a lot more content about revision, techniques, GCSEs, A-levels, etc. So do subscribe to me to see more from my channel. So this video is specifically for those that are GCSE students who just completed their GCSE. So if you're, just came out of year 11 and you're going into year 12 or college, sixth form, you're going on to the next thing. This is going to help you. I'm going to give you a few top tips on how and what you should be doing over the next couple of weeks. The first is to do with studying and pre-A-level preparation. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say you need to go start studying, start the syllabus, start revising from the beginning. I think that's a bit, we're all burnt out, and I think it's important that you do have some relaxation time. However, there are a couple of things that you can do here. The first is to find out exactly what exam board you're going to be studying for your A-levels. So find out if you picked, let's say, maths, maths A-level, biology A-level, chemistry A-level. Try to find out what exam board you're going to be doing if you know what sixth form you're going to, because then you can try to pick out some content that you want to maybe go over and start to read over the holidays. And once you know what exam board you're doing, I would say to start looking over the first 1 or 2 modules of your A-level content. Now, this is because usually the A-levels, so the jump is quite high. At the beginning of it, it's sort of overlapping with your GCSEs. So it might cover sort of the level 8, level 9 content of GCSEs. So if you're able to maybe go through the first 2 modules, that means when you first start your A-levels, you're not scrambling trying to catch up every single lesson. You kind of have a good grasp at the start of your A-levels, so you can settle in properly, make sure that you enjoy the subject, make sure that you're happy with what you're doing and that you're comfortable in the beginning, and then things are going to ramp up very quickly. Bear in mind that you have probably lost a lot of educational and teaching time over the past year or 2, so this content may not have been covered in as much detail as it would have normally been covered. So it's kind of your responsibility to maybe take some time that you have during the summer holidays just to maybe catch up a little bit on making sure that you're really secure on those complex topics that were complex in GCSE but are going to be quite basic for A-level. And on that note, I would also say to revise the level 7 to level 9 content of your GCSEs. So let's say you're picking maths for A-level, then obviously do that for maths GCSE. If you're picking history A-level, then do that for history GCSE. So just look at the level 7 to level 9 content, so that higher content. And just kind of recap that, because like I said, those higher topics of the GCSE become the sort of fundamental base topics of your A-level. And if you're able to make sure that you're really comfortable with that when you enter the A-level, or when you begin, you're not really fumbling and you're a bit more confident. And it's always good to start off on the right foot by giving yourself that extra boost. It just means that you're a little bit more confident in beginning, and you can hopefully hit the ground running. That's as far as I would go with studying. You could get textbooks if you want. I mean, I wouldn't say to get anything before you know exactly what you're going to be doing, before you get your results, before you know what college or sixth form you're going to. I wouldn't recommend buying any of that kind of thing, but content is something that regardless of where you go, you're going to be covering it. So definitely starting off doing a little bit of something is always going to be beneficial for you. The second thing to touch upon that you can do is to try to access some university reading lists. Now, I never hear this being recommended, but it's a hugely important one. As I mentioned earlier, you are going to be applying for universities. So if you're starting year 12 in September, you're going to be applying for universities in the next sort of start to apply in the next sort of couple of months, or the end of that year. You're going to start to write your personal statement. You're going to start to think about it so that you can start to apply by the end of that year and the start of year 13. So it's really not that far away from this point where you are now. In order to apply for the best universities and to try to get the best personal statements written, you want to make sure that you are reading around your subject a little bit. So if you know sort of what you are interested in or what you might want to do, then try to find the reading list for different universities. Now, a reading list is usually a list of books, sometimes videos and sometimes movies, but a list of sort of texts that students who have started that degree are given to read, or even sometimes it's a list for students that are interested in that degree can read. So I've listed a few of them here. I'm looking at one right now. It's the King's College one from Cambridge. So Cambridge, a King's College, not King's College London. And each college of Cambridge have their own reading list. It's a bit different to the way that the college system of Cambridge. It's like each college is like a different university, essentially, like literally like a different university. And if you apply to Cambridge, you'll figure that out very quickly. So every college has their own reading list that they recommend because they all have all the subjects, they teach all the subjects. I'm looking at one now. They've got classics reading list, they've got the computer science reading list, the English reading list, the engineering. Let's see if they have a science reading list, natural sciences. So you've got some prospective students reading lists, and for offer holders as well, they give you like options for what you can read for biology, chemistry, earth sciences, evolution. So there's a few books, and like I said, you don't have to go through, you're only in year, like, you know, coming out of year 11 now, you don't have to read all of these books. But if you are interested in, for example, natural science, then, which is like, you know, biology, biochemistry, that kind of thing, if you're interested in that, it would be a good idea to read maybe one or two of those books, or like maybe look at one or two of those books to get a bit of an understanding of what level of depth and what depth you might be going into at university level. And also you can include that in your personal statement. More and more, there's less chances now to get work experience outside because of everything going on. So if you're able to maybe say, well, as an alternative, I did some reading and here are the books that I read and this is what I discovered and this is something I'm really passionate about, that would look really good. I also have another one from Cambridge Homerton College. Again, they give you a few different suggestions for making arguments, and they say to go to different broadsheet newspapers like the Guardian, Times, Independent, Daily Telegraph. Maybe visit your local library. Think about like super curricular things as opposed to extracurricular. So super curricular, they say super curricular builds on and enhances what you're studying at school, whereas extracurricular is like separate to school. So that's the point. You want to try to build on what you already know, and that's why these like super curricular reading things are really important. And I also have another one here from Oxford University as well. So definitely think about reading lists and trying to access some of the books, one or two of the books from those reading lists, in order to try to be able to say something on your personal statement about your passion and kind of what you've done to fuel that. The third thing that you can do during this holiday time, and that has nothing to do with like studying, is again to do with universities. And the reason why I'm kind of emphasizing universities right now is because when you start school in September, you're going to be so heavily dedicated to your academic and to actually studying and revising that you won't really have time to think about uni and what you want to do and where you want to go and work experience. And before you know it, you're in April, you're sitting your A-level, May, June, and then now you're hit with it in July of year 12, and now you have to write a personal statement. You need to figure out what university you want to go to. You need to figure out like, you know, what to do, and it does get really overwhelming, and you never know what might happen in between. So by doing a bit of that prep now, you're giving yourself a bit of a head start, I would say, and I think you'll be in a much better position than a lot of students will be if they didn't do this. The third thing even is doing university research for your personal statement. So going to different university websites, taking a look at what requirements that they want for a certain degree. If you know what you want to do, if you're unsure, just taking a look at the different degrees out there. You might have an idea. You might say, well, I'm interested in maybe medicine, maybe engineering, let's say, I don't know, maybe biochem, maybe dentistry. I'm just giving random things out there. And so to do those degrees, I need maths for most universities, I need physics for some universities, and just looking at what the options are. So then at least you know, right, I need to put my head down and I need to smash this year and get this grade for my maths A-level, and that will give you kind of an advanced warning of what your expectations should be, as opposed to going through the year not doing that great in maths but then realizing that maths is probably the most fundamental subject for the thing that you want to do. So just doing a bit of research and just finding out what's out there, what do you need, what are the entry requirements, and hopefully you're able to then direct or like have a better focus and purpose from the start of the year. I've made a video on personal statements already, so I'll leave that somewhere here. I'll leave the link for it down below, so you're able to go and find out like what to include in a personal statement, and maybe that can give you an idea of like what you can be doing beforehand. The next tip is to do with work experience. Now, as I mentioned, because of everything going on, a lot of work experience is now online or just not really happening, and so because of that lots of unis are not really asking for it as a requirement. They're not saying that you need to have work experience, but they are saying that you still have to have shown a passion or an interest or some sort of dedication. You've done something in your field, like you've tried something out. There are so many options for this, and a lot of them are not that well known. So if you are able to do any of these, you will really stand out from the crowd. And there's this link that I'm going to go to it right now. There's this link from the University of Hertfordshire, and they have an amazing, like, such an exhaustive, I couldn't even find, I was going to try to find some things for you, but I was like, there's not even any point. This website is the best. Like, they have such an amazing list of things that you can do, different subjects for different disciplines. So for example, for engineering, it says listen to the NASA podcast. They've got lots of different podcasts that might inspire you, and you can listen to something and then say, oh, there was this person I listened to and they did this thing and I found it really interesting. It says you can play this game that allows you to kind of like wire things up. For computer science, you can learn programming. There's an online coding competition for young people. A lot of these things are free, and they've got all the links for them on this website. So I'm going to leave that for you so you're able to access it and, you know, try lots of different things. This is the time to do it. Like I said, once you start uni, once you start school even, you won't have time to be faffing around with like hackathons. You're going to be so busy with your A-levels. So being able to do it now is such an amazing opportunity, and your future self will thank yourself. And then last but not least is for equipment. So equipment prep. And this is a given. I'm not going to have to go into too much detail, but you know, just reset your space, get yourself some new nice folders, some nice equipment, get your space ready for the new year. And that is, you know, you don't want to end up like everyone else shopping on the last week of August trying to find everything and get what you need. If you can just get it all done beforehand, then you've got your space ready and you know sort of what's, you know, how you're going to begin your year. Hope this is helpful. I hope that this gave you some idea of what to do if you're a GCSE student going into A-level. Let me know in the comments down below what you found useful, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.